Alright, let me take you back a couple months to early January 2024. It's a new year. Old me, I'm going through it. I'm coming to terms that the school year is going to return soon, coming to terms that, oh god, I'll be 18 this year, and so instead of sitting on that feeling, I look at the backlog of games I have because, I already don't have enough that I've started, but haven't finished yet. This is a bad habit of mine. And so I find one that I think looks like something for me, a 2017 open world game called Horizon Zero Dawn, a post-apocalyptic game that revolves around you playing as a character named Aloy who hunts evil robots. Sounds cool, I thought. I heard of the game before, I heard it was really good, and so I was curious to check it out, and oh look at that, they're having a sale for it. And so I buy it going in about as blind as one could, and so I played it for an hour, and then 2, and 17, and then 25, and I finished it. But not really because I wanted to, but more because I felt obligated to. Okay, look, I might be a little bit biased because the last open world game I played before this was Tears of the Kingdom, however, hear me out. The game, in my opinion, is fine. The characters are likable, the story is pretty great, the game looked great at least when it wanted to, it's not optimized very well on PC, and the combat especially was fantastic. However, even with all of the things that for me were important in a game, I still felt a little mixed on the game at points while playing. When I was going through the main story, it was a great time, but when I was getting to my destination, exploring the world around me that wasn't designed to have a major set piece or story moment happen, it felt barren. As great and real as it looked outside of the major cities, it felt artificial and a little soulless to me. And it sort of made me realize how important the world of a game was, or rather, how important it is to make the world feel alive. Okay, so this video is not to dog on a game that I think overall is pretty okay. In fact, the reason why I bring up Horizon's arguably biggest flaw is because I want to explore how important a world of a game is and how to make it feel alive. Video games at its core is an interactive media, right? It is specifically designed to immerse you into a world where your actions are your own. However, imagine this. What if your actions were your own, but the world you traversed looked like this? I don't know about you, but I would not be a happy man. You see, one thing I think a lot of us don't realize is how important it is for a world to feel real. And by real, I don't mean hyper-realism, aka 120 FPS open world design. You see this grass? It looks mighty grassy. In fact, I think this is a problem that a lot of current gen games I play nowadays contain, and the biggest problem that I had with Horizon was that the world seemed like it was designed with this in mind. I like realism in my games from time to time, I'm not going to deny that. However, as beautiful as Horizon's world looks, it doesn't feel real. At least to me it doesn't, because apparently I'm in the minority with this one. There's not much to explore, nor are there small little details unique to a certain area that make this world feel alive, and that's something I was really looking forward to, considering one of its main appeals is exploring a post-apocalyptic world that, while destroyed, is brimming with life. Horizon's world feels soulless. And so today, I want to cover some games that in my opinion make the world feel alive no matter the kind of game it is. I want to discuss what I found in games that make me feel less like I was exploring an artificial world and more traversing a breathing, living plane of reality. And maybe, just maybe, make a fun video out of it, cause God knows how many videos I've made that try to be emotional. One thing I want to make clear is that in terms of making a world feel alive in a game, it is not needed to make it hyper-realistic. In fact, sometimes to give the world flavor, a game will have it adapt to its hyper-stylized art style and sprinkle details through said style. Milk Outside a Bag of Milk Outside a Bag of Milk, insert long title joke here, is a short visual novel game that takes a little under an hour to fully complete. However, what makes it stand out is not how realistic it is or how lonely its player base is, but how stylized not just the world is, but its protagonist, who I will simply call the girl. Milk Outside Milk's world is surrealistic, akin to something like a fever dream. However, even as weird as the world of what we see is, it feels strangely alive yet inhuman, which funny enough makes it feel more alive. You see things such as eyes looking in from the mirror, creatures lurk through the halls of the girl's house, whether they are real or fake, who knows? Flies hide behind crevices in the girl's room, which I think are manifestations of her thoughts, again, who knows? Milk Outside Milk's world, from the little we see, feels twisted. However, through that twisted nature, it feels alive, just not alive in the beautiful kind of sense. And making a world feel alive doesn't mean it has to be beautiful or even coherent, it just means it has to feel like it wasn't made by developers in a game studio. Like, take Psychonauts, bro. This game's psychological worlds you explore sometimes make no sense. However, the lack of coherency never detracts from the feeling that these mentally created worlds are a living part of someone else's subconscious. While they may not be real physically, both in-game and in real life, they still feel like they exist in their own world rather than feeling like something created by multiple people in a studio. Also, if you've never played Psychonauts before, here is why you should.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious. Special delivery today.
Play Psychonauts, you coward. Final Fantasy VII Remake does a fantastic job in making the world of Midgar feel ever more alive through locations both populated and barren. Final Fantasy VII, not the remake, does a great job at making the world feel alive with diverse people despite the limitations of hardware. Persona 5's world is littered with people having their own conversations you can drop in on, and even with its slick style, has incredible attention to detail about environments and the information you can get from these locations that you explore. However, one thing that all 4 1/3 of these games have are small little details both in its world and its inhabitants, which are arguably just as important as the game's world. And I agree with that sentiment. Judging a game solely on its world is inconsequential because without the people that inhabit that world, all you have are locations, and no matter how many details they have, they are ultimately only that. So to make a game's world breathe, you sort of have to make its characters breathe and complement the world as well. They are not individualistic properties, they correspond with each other. That's why sometimes when we are wandering a game's world on our own, it can sometimes feel like something is missing. If you're just driving through Night City without any real destination, that drive can feel somewhat isolating, but if say Jackie is in the car with you, it makes the drive feel less like a reflective experience, which isn't exactly bad and more one you can soak in camaraderie through. Without the characters, the world feels half as less alive. And okay, most people could listen to this previous paragraph and the response would be along the lines of, well, yeah, what are you, stupid? Of course, without characters and NPCs, the world doesn't flourish. One could argue that's exactly their purpose. And if you thought that was the case, let me casually inform you that you in fact are absolutely right. I just wanted to I don't know what I wanted to do there. However, one thing I believe a game can do to sort of shortcut building a world around its characters is doing something different. Building the world through its characters. Alright, that sounds whack, but hear me out before you tell me in the comments why my opinions are trash and why Horizon Zero Dawn is actually a masterpiece and I have no taste in media.
I swear I do, guys, I'm just not good at articulating stuff.
You see, some games use its characters, particularly their psyches, to form worlds around them, hence not only giving proper world building, but also telling more about the characters themselves. Take something like Persona 5, the game's main focus is stealing a corrupt individual's heart by essentially, in narrow terms, invading a space manifested by said corrupt individual's desires, both actively or subconsciously, called palaces. And through exploring each individual's palace, we see imagery that builds up their character and shows us how they view the world, while also in subtle ways showing us the player what brought them to this point. Through these manifested locations, we learn more about the villain of each arc along with the world around them, or in this case, how they view it. And this is just one way some games can build a world through its characters. There are other creative ways I've seen games do this, like Doki Doki, however, I would rather keep this video in the green for now. However, even when we take the characters out of the equation and are just left with the world, there can still be detail thrown into the world by adding history. This is how a lot of games add details in worlds that are isolated or barren. They write history about them. Maybe the planet was once populated with a civilization that eventually decayed. Maybe an alien colony discovered the planet, tried to make it home, and then called it quits when the water was made up of asteroid piss or something. I don't know, this is kinda on the fly. And look, I can hear some of you sigh to yourselves in frustration like it's leg day. History, bro? That crap's boring. Nicolas Cage stole the Declaration of Independence in 2004, that's all I need to know. However, a lot of the reasons why people love the worlds of games like Hollow Knight, Outer Wilds, and Dark Souls is because of the history surrounding the worlds themselves. Without the history of Hollow Knight, Hallownest would just be a bunch of underground tunnels. Without the history of Outer Wilds, well, there would be no Outer Wilds, and without the lore and history of Dark Souls, I wouldn't be crying over a giant freaking dog with a sword in its mouth. Some games don't have to utilize characters to make the world feel alive. Sometimes all it needs is a little depth. And I get it, this seems like a long list of to-dos, however, I honestly don't think there is a right or wrong way to make a world breathe. I have seen games shock me on how they've developed their world in ways I never would have thought of. I don't want this video to be looked at as a wish list, just more of what I've noticed works well. So how does this even remotely connect with Horizon Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn is just one of those games that no matter how hard I tried, I could not get myself to love. And before I state the problems with the world I had with it, If you enjoyed the game and had a blast, then don't let my opinion change your stance on it. If you truly enjoyed your time with it, then I'm so glad you did and saw something I didn't. We all experience media through different lenses, and this is just my perspective on it. Alright, no more sympathy, time to trash the game. I mentioned how Horizon Zero Dawn's world felt soulless to me, and the biggest reason why is I couldn't immerse myself into this world no matter how hard I tried. This kinda goes back to that immersion video I made a while back. The world itself was barren, not without beautiful sights to see or gorgeous mountains, but without life or little details that are hard to find, which uniquely shape a player's experience. I never got that forest view moment that I got in Breath of the Wild. Every NPC I encountered outside of the major locations that were not side quests either led a useless charge into robot territory, getting themselves killed in admittedly humorous ways, or just said one of maybe 9 default lines. The characters in the main story were interesting and I wanted to get to know them more. However, outside of these main characters, the side characters and side quests felt so robotic and straightforward that they felt artificial. There was so much history in the world, but besides the locations the story has you travel to, there was nothing that I could find detailing other parts of Utah and Colorado and how they've changed over the years, probably because how much history can you create when an environment looks as beautiful but painfully simple as this? I often didn't feel the world develop through or around these characters. I felt that they were disjointed in some weird way I can't really explain, the characters never seeming to be fully there but at the same time partly in touch with the world around them. They never complemented the world, they only inhabited it, and to me, it never felt like they inhabited the world with a purpose. Unlike the other games I've talked about in this video, although some have their flaws, Horizon Zero Dawn felt like it was made by developers in a studio. It never felt like its own plane of reality and world that exists on its own. However, all that said, I did not make this video with the intention of calling a game many people like trash, and instead of ending this video hating on a game that many people enjoy, I want to end this video appreciating those who make game worlds at all. A game's world is so incredibly important and brings on another level of immersion. While Horizon's world never did that for me, I want to thank those who made it at all, because while to me it may have seemed bare and lifeless, I would be lying if the sights I saw weren't beautiful at points. In a way, video game worlds are important because when done right, they don't feel like video game worlds. They feel like a world of its own nature, bound not by code but by the laws of nature. One may walk away from this video thinking I'm just talking about open world games, that every game needs to be open world to be immersive and transport the player. However, personally, I find that my favorite video game worlds that are immersive and feel alive are ones in which the game is quite linear, worlds where there is a predetermined path. It's not about creating a huge world for the player to explore, it's about creating a world that feels brimming with life and passion, one that feels unique yet also genuine. So to those like me who experience the worlds in video games, find ones that even if flawed you can enjoy, and if a game manages to suck you into its world and make you forget that you're playing a game, appreciate that the game is able to do that for you. And to those who create game worlds at all with the intention of creating another plane of reality filled with passion, no matter how messy the finished product is, thank you for even trying to begin with. A lot of people, including myself, undermine how difficult it is to make a game, and I want to thank you for even trying to create something like that, even if the finished product is less than desirable. However, always remember that great things are built on previous failures. And remember, you only get one chance exploring these worlds for the first time, so soak in it, man. Enjoy your time with a game and don't let some stupid stranger on the internet make you change your mind. Make sure to make your experience with it worthwhile. Make sure to make your experience with it memorable. Hello there, friendly strangers on the internet. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe it's because I spent so long working on that Attack on Titan video. That is actually doing quite well, so thank you by the way. But I had a lot of fun actually being able to talk about video games again. Seriously forgot how much I love these things. Oh, by the way, while it's on my mind, be a little patient with me on this next video, would you? Had that moment as a creator where you are doing something completely irrelevant and then think of something unique for a video and then you go, hold on, has this been made before? No? Alright, I gotta try this out. So yeah, I'm gonna take my time making this thing, but also hopefully not become a ghost online again. Anyways, appreciate you all stopping by. Take care of others, and I will see you next time.
Hey Ash, guess who's back? Oh, I already know, babe.
God, dude, that crap's 3 years old. I can't leave that in the video.